When did horror movies become a pleasant escape from real life? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 horror movies of 2020 so far. For this list, we're looking at the most memorable horror movies released in 2020 thus far. We're including films that technically premiered in 2019, but were given a general release this year.
Don't go to the...
Number 10, Sea Fever. Originally set for theatrical distribution, Sea Fever switched to a video-on-demand release model due to the pandemic. This is a bizarre and unsettling coincidence, since many have drawn parallels between the film and real-world events.
What is that?
Chemical spill, maybe?
Tell us if this sounds familiar. While out to sea, a crew's water supply is tainted by lethal parasites, raising numerous debates on board. Should the crew self-quarantine or head to port for help? If someone's infected, should they be put out of their misery right then and there?
I can't see.
The film is full of challenging and strangely relevant ethical questions, which is where the true horror stems from. Elevated by a claustrophobic setting and strong lead performance from Connie Nielsen, Sea Fever keeps the tension afloat.
Stupid idea anyway.
Number 9, Underwater. From one sea-related movie to another, Underwater received mixed reviews and didn't make a huge splash at the box office. It is worth a second look on demand, however, for its harrowing atmosphere and heart-pounding action.
Shut the door now!
The film follows Kristen Stewart in a committed performance as an engineer aboard an underwater facility. The crew is sent into disarray when the lab is hit by an earthquake, but it turns out that something even deadlier is in the water. While not on the same level as a James Cameron production, Underwater does warrant comparison to films like Aliens and The Abyss. Actually, Aliens of the Deep would have been a fitting title. The film consistently leaves you with a sinking feeling, giving little time to come up for air.
Keep going.
Number 8, Gretel and Hansel. Many of us have fond memories growing up reading Hansel and Gretel, what with its house made of candy and children triumphing over a witch. When you think about it though, this so-called children's story really puts the grim in grim fairy tale, touching upon abandonment, abduction, and cannibalism.
You would have had your own room. You would have seen a crumb of cake sooner or later.
Nothing is given without something else being taken away.
Gretel and Hansel embraces its dark roots, cranking up the creep factor and sprinkling in a few twists. Sophia Lillis of It and newcomer Sam Leakey stars the titular siblings, who encounter a woman in the woods with a devious appetite. Director Oz Perkins drapes his film with shadowy cinematography and whimsically demented sets. Even if the buildup is a bit slow, the main course will fill your stomach with dread.
You're going somewhere.
It's not regular that nature calls out to me, but when she does, I try to answer.
Number 7, VFW. The blind man from Don't Breathe, John Kreese from The Karate Kid, T-Bird from The Crow, the Grim Reaper from Bill and Ted, Norm from Cheers, and BJ Hammer together at last. VFW is every bit as bonkers as its cast list suggests, revolving around some aging vets who once again find themselves at war.
And what do? We just sit here with our thumbs up our
Hey,
asses.
Luke, it's gonna be all right. The smaller force acts while the larger force regroups.
This time around, the enemy is a crazy drug dealer and his goons. Stuck in the middle is a teenage girl who our heroes have sworn to protect. VFW has the calling card of a classic grindhouse picture, complete with retro vibes, over-the-top performances, and balls-to-the-wall mayhem.
You ready? Don't get killed by those antlers.
The film's got cult status written all over it, and could even become a midnight staple once theaters start reopening.
Now I got blood and pickled pork shit on my jacket.
Number 6, The Platform. The Platform possesses echoes of a Twilight Zone episode, albeit with a lot more blood and gore. The inventive premise, shocking twists, and political commentary, however, certainly call Rod Serling to mind.
¿Por qué ha hecho eso?
Para que se lo coman los de abajo.
This Netflix film takes place in a vertical prison with hundreds of floors. At the center is a moving platform that carries a lavish feast from top to bottom. The higher up you are, the less hungry you'll be. The lower you are, well, your cellmate might start to look awfully appetizing. It's an intriguing setup, brilliantly executed with style, satire, and several satisfying payoffs.
Con el tiempo, nuestra amistad se iría deteriorando y terminaría en una desconfianza mutua que que desencadenaría el conflicto y el crimen.
For anyone who's starving for original ideas, you will rarely know where the platform is going, and the final outcome is anything but obvious. Number 5, Come to Daddy. Elijah Wood's haircut and mustache aren't even the weirdest things about this comedy thriller.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Wood plays Norval, a full-grown mama's boy who reunites with his estranged father at a remote cabin. Instead of burying the hatchet, Norval begins to fear that his dad is trying to put him 6 feet under. There are more layers to this male bonding trip than even Norval suspects, though.
Please don't push me. Oh, yeah, what?
Without spoiling anything, let's just say that the movie's trailer only gives the viewer a taste of what they're in store for. Come to Daddy takes various unexpected turns that are equally jaw-dropping and hilarious. Similar to M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, the film walks a tightrope between fear and humor, culminating in an uproarious resolution.
Boy, I'll tell you, it's a small world. I just happen to be a close friend of Reginald's, too.
You are?
Number 4, Color Out of Space. Remember when Nicolas Cage was the most unpredictable, unrestrained, and unhinged actor in Hollywood? Well, between Mom and Dad, Mandy, and now Color Out of Space, Cage's career hasn't been this exciting in years.
The dream you dream together is reality.
In this adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's short story, Cage plays a family man whose farm is hit by a meteorite emitting an otherworldly purple color.
Or actually, I don't even know what color it was. It wasn't like any color I'd ever seen before, and then everything just blew up or fell from the sky.
Cage isn't the only one riding the comeback train, as the film also marks the return of director Richard Stanley, who's been essentially MIA since that ill-fated The Island of Dr. Moreau movie. Stanley has plans for a Lovecraftian trilogy, and this first entry is a terrific start. With psychedelic visuals, a sinister sense of mystery, and the Cage Man himself, color us impressed.
I want those alpacas back in the barn by 10 o'clock.
You got it, Dad.
10 o'clock!
Number 3, Swallow. With his directorial debut, Carlo Mirabella Davis has made one of the most interesting and intense body horror pictures this side of David Cronenberg.
I don't think there's anything to worry.
The film is carried by a magnetic lead performance from Haley Bennett, who shares an uncanny resemblance to Jennifer Lawrence from Mother. Bennett shines as Hunter, a pregnant trophy wife who seems perfect on the surface, but something much more ghastly is happening beneath the surface. Literally. Hunter suffers from pica, a real disorder that compels her to consume marbles, thumbtacks, and other inedible items.
I just like the textures in my mouth. I like the way they feel in my mouth.
Even when it isn't leaning too heavily into bloody territory, Swallow is beyond disturbing and not for the squeamish. For those who can handle the cringe-inducing subject matter, though, it's a pill well worth swallowing.
Why those objects? I don't know. It made me feel in control.
Number 2, The Lodge. With its harsh, isolated winter setting, this psychological thriller is reminiscent of The Shining and The Thing, the latter of which is directly referenced. Riley Keough is exceptional as Grace, a former cult member with a history of mental illness.
We did good. We've done good.
Grace is invited to spend Christmas with her boyfriend and his children, who have strong reservations about bringing a potentially unstable woman to their lodge.
You left Mom for a psychopath.
Who told you she was a psychopath?
When Grace is left alone with the kids, things go from uncomfortable to downright unnerving as the cabin is plagued by unexpected occurrences. Is Grace falling into madness, or are other forces at work? The Lodge keeps us guessing until the final act, and once everything falls into place, you'll be left shaken to the core.
What is this?
I don't know, Aiden.
So, if you've already come to the end of your probably long must-watch list, hopefully we've been able to give you a few new movies to scare yourself silly with. I will say that I have watched number 1 already, and it is worth checking out for sure. It's one of the best movies this year, period. So, let's look at the honorable mentions, and then we'll see the top horror movie of 2020 so far. The Hunt, a polarizing yet provocative political horror parody.
It's okay. Shh, it's all right. No, it's all right. It's okay. I'm a doctor.
One Bedroom, and you think you have bad neighbors.
Please just let me go. You can't do this. You can't just keep me here.
Of course we can.
After Midnight, for the monster and the hopeless romantic in us all.
You smell that?
What?
That's bacon.
Spit. Who says that fresh vampire movies are dead?
I drank his blood.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Blood Quantum, a zombie apocalypse film with socio-political bite.
Ain't nobody immune here but us. So feel safe here.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Invisible Man. The Academy rarely recognizes the horror genre, but Elizabeth Moss deserves Best Actress consideration for her chilling work in The Invisible Man. Moss brings a raw sense of realism to her performance as Cecilia Cass, an emotionally and physically scarred woman who can't seem to escape her ex.
James?
Director Leigh Whannell views H.G. Wells' novel through a modern lens, effectively exploring domestic violence and growing technology. By taking this grounded approach, Whannell's version almost feels like it could happen in today's world, making the setup all the more haunting.
Oh my god. Sydney, are you okay?
As tense as it may be, The Invisible Man is surprisingly a lot of fun as well. With a well-crafted story, expertly shot set pieces, and a compelling lead performance, this flick sticks out like no other.
Now you've only got yourself to blame for that innocent young girl's death.
No, please. Not Sydney. Adrian, no.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.